All right, so what we have here is you can start a new chat. And you have options, of course. You can upload an image, you can talk to it, and then you can send it. And then all these red buttons, that indicates that these are all agents which are turned off. You can turn them on like this, and then you can decide what kind of agent this is. So in this case, this is a ChatGPT agent, but as easy as this, you can switch it and make it an Ollama agent or an Anthropic agent, and you can attach it to a project to output its output if you don't want to see it in the chat. We have a bunch of options here, like, are you going to send it to the chat, or are you going to send it to a project, or are you going to do that? But essentially, what's happening here is when you chat with these bots, you can collect the data that they output. And that's the update, yeah. So there's an indicator that says whether the output is going to go to the next LM or it's going to go over here, and you can see that these guys are getting some outputs. So essentially, you can string these chatbots together. So like this one is Anthropic, and this one is ChatGPT, and I could put in a prompt here and have them create records in the project or in the chat. The other thing you can do is you can program an identity. So like, let's say this identity is going to be like, you are Mario. And then you say like, from Super Mario Brothers. Then you've basically just programmed in that personality that's going to be Mario. And if I had the avatar, I could have saved it to his to the chat. So anyways, I'm just going to randomly type in a message and say like, hey, it's a nice day, right? Something like that. Something random. And it's just going to go crazy. Like all these green ones that are turned on right now are going to start answering in the message. I wish I was zoomed in because I can't really see the buttons very well, but you can basically you can program. So over here on the right, you'll see that the projects are getting populated with the outputs, any of them that you've directed to the projects. So anyways, like I said, I'm hoping I'm not boring you guys. This is exciting to me because you're able to chat with a private layer of LLM. So let's say you're a business and you want to program your own agent, you want to program your own bot. 2 minutes, okay. All right, we got 2 minutes. So you can program your own bot, and then you can set up the API to call that bot. And then you can sit there by the pool with your iPhone out, and you can reprogram the agent, say no, say something different, and then that API is still feeding out whatever you update, okay? You can also, of course, load context information. We provide constant context switching. So you can start a chat with like Ollama, and then you can switch the chat to ChatGPT, and it'll remember and send all the context, vice versa. And you can turn that on or off if you don't want to do that. So there's a lot of stuff we're building. It's called Every AI. And basically for the same price you might get ChatGPT, or the same price you might get Anthropic, you're going to get all of them. Everything that they offer through their API, we connect, and then you can switch between them, and you can output to projects. And the thing I didn't build yet, but I was almost there, is the flows. The flows are the great thing. So you can select an iterator, like let's say 5 times, do this flow, and then you line up the agents. And let me see, what did this guy just output? Some pictures. So we got some pictures outputted. This one was generated. So, and then some text was outputted. But again, I gotta call it quits. Thank you, guys. Yes, hit me with your questions. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for.
What's your ask? Are you looking for users? Are you looking for help?
Well, my son and I are the engineers. We're both, a lot of experience in Ruby on Rails. So if you like engineering and you want to help on something like that, that's something that we will be needing for sure. Right now, we're looking for funding. We have a couple of co-location data centers that we're putting stuff in, and we're just kind of scrapping together whatever we can afford. But if we got some money, we'd even put some bigger GPUs in there. There's a lot of stuff we're doing, but money. Anyone has money they want to give? Like, hit me up. Yeah. Yeah, we have. We actually scored all those scholarships, and we're making use of them and everything. But the thing is that the reason why we're into having our own rack server like GPUs is because you get so much more bang for your buck. So even if they're like, hey, this thing we're gonna give you 100 grand for free, Microsoft, thank you. But then like you use it up and it's so friggin' expensive, you'd switch to metal anyway. So we're just kind of starting off bootstrapping it with our own hardware so we can get way further with way less expense. And plus we got some sick connects in Austin.
How are you managing context between conversations?
Well, you know, I mean, if you're familiar with Olama, it has its own internal context manager that basically just translates it into an array of random stuff and then retranslates back. We use that for Olama chats, but when it comes to ChatGPT, the API by default just asks for this array of messages, and we pass those. So we already have them because we have a chat with messages, so it's easy. Yeah. All right. Yep.
That's everyllm.com.
Hello, everyone. I'm John, and I'm a recovering hardware founder. So about a year ago, I exited very small exit, my own hardware company, and I've been helping mostly, it turned out, CPG companies set up manufacturing over the past year, consulting-wise. And I just wanted to do consulting. I didn't want to be founder, maybe get a real job, but I'm a founder, so I'm getting pushed back into that now. But one of the big problems I've noticed with these CPG manufacturing companies is everyone has to do FDA compliance. And when it's time to really step your game up with FDA compliance, then you're way too busy, you're in growth mode, you don't have time to do all the right way. So these companies go to these consultants, and these consultants kind of give templates for these documentation. They don't really customize things to the company. You end up with a set of documents for compliance and a set of documents to run your business, and you're kind of doubling up on all of the amount of paperwork you have to do. And you end up hiring an extra person anyways, instead of the consultant saving you time and money. So this one company I was helping out, I took the consultant's work, I took the processes in the company, I took the documentation that they had, put it into a simple GPT, and used that to customize everything to their needs and their processes, and made everything work 10 times better, 10 times faster, by just customizing things to the company's processes. So what I'm looking for now is to find some more CPG companies that are kind of at this inflection where they need to step up their FDA compliance game so they don't get in trouble, and see if I can turn this into a business where maybe this is a piece of enterprise software where instead of going to a consultant, maybe people go to this software platform to do the compliance. Or maybe the consultant is the customer to this business, and the consultant uses this to make a much better solution for the company. So, any questions, or anyone know any CPG companies that might be in this sector?
There's actually a CPG specific meetup. Yeah.
Mhm.
Specific meetup. You need to hit that one.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
I think the newsletter that I talked about, Texas Square,
Mhm.
the same person that runs the newsletter also runs that meetup. So I would say, follow that newsletter and also go to that meetup and connect with that person. So he's a
Texas Square.
Check his website going back. There's a couple of 3PLs that have come through here. Those 3PLs are local.
Yep. They'll know them all. Yeah.
Contact the 3PLs to get names of early stage CPG companies.
Okay.
You're talking about CPG companies doing their own manufacturing.
Yeah, so this is a subsect of, it seems like about 75% of companies don't actually make their own products, but this is kind of the 25% that do, or the ones that kind of evolve into that side of things after doing co-manufacturing.
And have you checked in with SKU?
Not on this specifically, no. Yeah,
That might be something.
yeah, I think so.
Any other questions? What was your first hardware company?
A company called Vosk. It was built-in hand sanitizing fixtures.
Do you know
Yes, they helped on my initial design. Oh, awesome. That was my last 4 years.
Yeah, we have a mask sitting on the wall.
Yes, you do.
Awesome.
Yep. Cool. All right, thank you.
And I think there was you, and then we'll go ahead.
Hey, everybody. My name is John Mark Warren. I go by John Mark, JM. I have spent the last 8 years or so in startups leading finance teams. I moved to Austin to join a company called RigUp. I was the first finance hire and helped scale that company from Series A to Series E, and then joined another labor marketplace called Medley, where I was there for about 3 years. And so as a CFO leading finance teams, I've seen the planning process, I guess 8 times at this point. And it's been my burning desire to always eventually found my own company. And so I've decided to do that and solve one of the problems that I faced in my job as a finance leader. If you look at the planning process for startups, the planning process is kind of the Super Bowl of finance, right? You start in June, laying out, trying to think of the things that you could improve on from the year before. If you're in a growing company, the team and the company has gotten much more complex. You revamp that whole process. You make any changes to the model. You go through iteration after iteration, forecasting revenue and OpEx, et cetera. And you go through, working with internal leaders, et cetera. You come out in November, with a forecast, a plan, which inevitably, after taking 5 months to build, is a little bit stale. You've run around like a chicken with your head cut off and, have really only leaned on internal data primarily. I was in industries, oil and gas and healthcare, that had a lot of volatility, and we knew what was happening in the industries, but we didn't have the time or the resources to incorporate all the industry data that could give us a lot more visibility into where the company might be going, or the outside factors that would affect our ability to grow, and et cetera. And so you end up with, at the end of a planning process with, a plan that's more reactive, that's more stale, and somewhat incomplete. And so inevitably you revise it, and, depending on the volatility in the industry, it's either useful or sometimes not useful. And so when you think about why that problem exists, the staleness, the incompleteness, the reactivity, it's really just a resource issue. Finance teams, particularly Series B, Series C type finance companies, have an FP&A team with 1 or 2 analysts. These are usually generalists, smart, scrappy, but not, statistics experts, not, deep industry experts. And so you're resource constrained. You don't have all the expertise that you'd love to have that a bigger company would have teams of. And so you end up with, the model I described. And now I think with the culmination of AI, coming onto the scene, we have this opportunity to build or to scale the team with sort of a high and rising IQ, infinitely scalable analyst that can give you all the resources to much more quickly, much more completely aggregate, consider, look at the statistical correlations, et cetera, of all the data that will affect your business, of which there's so much in, each industry is different, and give you the ability to, instead of maybe run 1 or 2 or 3 scenarios, run infinite scenarios. Instead of taking months to solve that problem or to build that plan, do that in days, giving you, something that's much less stale, that can easily be, used as it was intended as a plan to help guide decision making, to help guide resource decisioning, et cetera. And so I'm at the very early stage of this. My ask is I'm looking for someone on the technical side to build with. I'm kind of the target customer, and learning a lot of these tools myself, but would love to partner with somebody. So if you have any friends looking to found a company in this space, I'd love to talk to them. But yeah, I just decided I don't want to let a chance to have a nerve-wracking opportunity to present pass. So that's where I'm at, about a couple weeks into this journey. So that's that. And the company will be called Blueprint AI. So Blueprint AI, build the blueprint for the companies. So yeah.
So when you're looking for an engineer type person, is that like a paid type position you're looking for, or are you looking for someone that's just going to jump in at the end
Yeah, I mean, co-founding a company is kind of like a marriage, unless you're fortunate to do it with your child, which you already know that person. I could envision a world where maybe there's some project-based work that I could pay for initially, just to make sure this is something we want to do together. And then, this is pre-revenue, pre-prototype, et cetera. So there's not. It's going to be kind of a bootstrapping phase for the near future. But I've raised 8 rounds of capital at the startups I was at. I know how to navigate that process, and I know a lot of investors, and I think that with the right team in place and the ability to prototype and prove out the value, it wouldn't be hard to raise a seed round and at that point there would be compensation. So, yeah. Okay.
Is the goal to build a product that's proprietary to you, where clients come in and provide their data and then you output something, or are you trying to build something which then other clients can essentially purchase and they do everything in-house, but you've built the tool for them?
The goal would be like a software tool, like a platform that the sensitive data probably lives, primarily, on their machines, just because of the sensitivity. So, from what I understand, we'll probably do a lot of the general training with a larger model, and then have kind of company specific and certainly industry specific type models. So the goal is not to be kind of a consulting firm, but more of a software solution, a platform that can eventually be sort of, the platform for, for finance professionals to store all the company data. So I think security will be a big issue and something to really design around. Yeah. All right, thank you.
So that's Blueprint AI. And before we go to the next person, I just wanted to put something on the screen so you guys can. So there's going to be a raffle for a free license, personal license for a JetBrains product, any product that you can choose to use. So if you're interested in participating in the raffle, just scan that QR code, and after going through a few more pitches, we'll do a raffle for that. So we'll go to the next person.
Hey everyone, good evening. This is Anil. I have 10 plus years of experience into IT consulting. I'm an IT consultant. I help companies in their digital transformation journey. Specific to supply chain management is my domain. So I'm still in ideation phase. I'm trying to validate my idea. I'm not sure whether this is going to work or not. So in my decade years of experience as a consultant implementing supply chain solutions for the clients, I found a problem. The problem statement is the risk of getting these projects executed is very high. It's mainly because they don't, whenever businesses are going for these kind of implementations, they don't understand the depth and the breadth of the applications that they are going to use. They have to integrate with multiple applications. And the other thing, that there are 2 pillars that I see the failure of these projects becoming so high. One is the decision making, and the second one is the change management. So decision making is something that they are not quite confident enough to take any process changes or any system changes that is going to affect their business process. So in order to address that issue, to give a tool for businesses to make an effective decisions within time, so that they are not deviating in the scope of the project, either in terms of time or money. So what I'm planning to build a SaaS-based product where they can internally understand their current data and understand the process flows, and they can map it to the future state system and see how far they're going to fit with that future state product that they are going to buy. So, my ask over here is, I have this idea. I've created a Figma prototype, but unfortunately, I don't know whom to ask, who is my target customer. I tried to reach a couple of CIOs, IT directors, but they didn't answer to my email. But I would like to know, how can I take this forward and validate and refine my idea? I know it's quite broad at the moment, but I want to refine and narrow down to build what exactly the customers are looking for. Any suggestions for me?
Can you briefly explain again what type of I'm assuming supply
solutions that you're talking about? Can you give me a
Yeah, so I'm an Oracle Fusion Cloud consultant. So I implement Oracle ERP solutions for them. For example, if this particular business, bought Oracle because there is a pre-sales pitch that has happened, feasibility study that has happened, and they found, 80% this system is going to match for their business process. But when we go to the actual implementation, it is nowhere matching. Even 50% of the requirements are not matching. And when they have given the estimate, they have given, considering this is no customization, everything is SaaS, plain vanilla implementation, but none of the processes are matching. And this is where, people have invested a lot of time and money over there, and now they are still making a decision whether to go live or to stay back with their systems. So why do you have to do that? So if we have done this analysis in the first stage itself, we should haven't been in the situation. So that is where I'm trying to, build something that businesses as well as the implementation partners well aware of the process. Something like, whenever I go to the meetings, they ask the first question, what is the best practice? What is the industry best practice? There is no such thing. There is no such best practice. Whatever fits for your business, you have to choose for that. But no one is ready to make that decision on the table. So they'll track the decisions for 2 to 3 months. When we are going live, they'll give that decision. No, this is how you have to build. It's a big customization. We don't have time. No one is paying for that. So in order to avoid all this, if people were well aware what they can expect from the product, I feel like that we can save them a lot of money. Did I make sense?
Yeah, one suggestion I would give you is maybe organize a happy hour for CIOs or whoever your ideal
IT
customer
director,
or
supply chain managers.
yeah, managers or anyone that you feel are the ones that are having to rethink those decisions after spending a lot of money and time and effort. Whoever those the roles are in the organization, target those roles, and I would say do some happy hours. So they're more open to coming and maybe talking to you rather than a more formal session or trying to approach them in a way that they might think you're selling something to them.
Mhm.
Or maybe a meetup or something like that that you can just do in an informal setting
Okay.
where you can attract them to go and get some, or maybe you can even organize a talk in one of those areas that I think where you feel you have the expertise and where you can provide them some insights into running their projects or implementing new projects and things like that in their organization. So I just thought, that's something maybe you can think about, like happy hours or meetups or some form of informal setups, or maybe doing some kind of like um, you know talks or things like that, which are more formal, but then you're not selling something.
Yeah, I tried multiple times on LinkedIn. I know I LinkedIn. So because I'm a remote worker, I work from home. I don't go to office often. So yeah, getting that personal connection is becoming a big challenge. And I know, responding to my email or LinkedIn, who is nowhere, sitting somewhere Austin, is not for them. But yeah, I do agree. But getting to that happy hours, bringing them to the table has become a challenge for me.
I think what you are trying to do, and I've been an SAP consultant similar to what you have done for many years,
Hmm.
is a very difficult thing to do for
Correct.
many reasons. One, and I'm not being negative, but one,
No, I
I'll
agree.
share one thing. If you are, like for example, if I as a consultant go to a supply chain professional or a maintenance, say a manager, and I ask them, say, can you tell me whether what is the asset criticality of these equipment what you have? That's my favorite question to the oil and gas people. And the answer and I was looking for A, B, C, which is just one field in the SAP of the million fields. And the same thing in with you. And the guy looks at me after a few meetings and says, for you it is A, B, C. From my team, it's a 5 year of effort to decide whether it they are pitched from Deloitte's and PwC's or IBM's
Correct.
of the world and SAP's of the world, and they give you an overall view that yes, it is a vanilla 60% or 80% matches. So when they go deep into the system, which is actually run by the other employees, they are not able, they are maybe 20 to 25% matches. And
Correct.
then they have, I'm sorry to say, I think this is a very open network, so I can use the word. This is a what do you call that? A mafia of a product or consulting companies where you are giving these products at a saying that this is a vanilla product, but actually then adding up to $100 million worth
Correct.
of projects later on. So in my opinion, getting into a product into this kind of thing would be very challenging to
Yep.
build or to sell. That's
I totally agree. I totally agree. So initially, I'm not trying to build something that you can compare everything, but at least you must know what is your scope. So that is where I want to start with. So as a company, if I'm going to for a new implementation, I must know how many kind of integrations I have to deal with tomorrow, how many applications that I have to talk with, what is a new process is going to look like, how it is going to impact on my business process. So if I know, if I'm well aware of that information, at least it gives them business a leverage. So you know, most of the discussions I end up with, people start the discussion saying that I know this report, but I don't know who is using this report and who wants this report. Sorry. Sure. Thank you.
Before we go to the next person, one thing I want to also remind you all is that for people that are sharing their products and services and their companies or even their asks, I would say if you like the product or app or service, what you hear, just go to the website. If it's an app, download the app, try it out. If it's a web platform or something like that, sign up and try to use it. And if you like it, spread the word to your friends and family or in your network. So, the biggest boost that you can give to an early stage founder is spreading the word. So do consider trying out those products, apps, or services, and spreading the word. And for people that are asking for help in network, getting connections and things like that, if you know someone in your network that could help, the said person, please do make a connection so they can, move forward in their endeavors. So with that said, we'll go to the next person. And before we go, we'll take a quick raise of hands. Anyone here who wants to go next? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yes, sir.
Hey guys, what's up? So many consultants today in the room. So yeah. So my name is Konstantin. I'm doing a management consultancy. I'm one of them. I'm helping companies to scale up, usually. And I have published 4 books already. And right now I'm in discovery phase for my next book. So I am looking for business owners who have at least like 20 employees. And right now I'm in scaling phase. So right now I'm trying to scale, maybe trying to scale and probably failing because of hitting the glass ceiling. Or any other problems with scaling up. So it will be very helpful for me in discovery phase for this book to find the best title, to find the best content, and then to write it. Thank you very much if you will give me any of these contacts. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very quick.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kate, and I'm working on a company called Boundra. So I am a developer, software developer, and UX designer. And my last company that I designed for and in Kenya is now worth a few $1 million. So I think I'm pretty good at what I do. And so that founder that I designed for was like, hey, let's build something again. And I said, let's do it. And a huge problem in Kenya and many countries around the world, 60% of the globe and 90% of sub-Saharan Africa is undocumented for who owns what land. In other words, they don't have a title deed. And when you don't own the land that you live on, there's a lot of problems that happen. One of them being, why would you plant a tree if you don't own the land you live on, right? Like, why would you invest in the future? But on a bigger economic scale, why would a bank loan you money to build an apartment building if they don't know you own that land? So when you read books like The Mystery of Capital by Hernaldo de Soto, he talks about the 5 pillars of an economy. And one of them is land. We think of economies as just growing and being natural, but when you look at countries like the Asian tigers versus Asian countries that didn't do so well, there are differences in how those economies were built. And we look at African countries that aren't developing so well, we think, well, we want to blame them, but there's actually some pillars about why they're not doing so well. I'm not here to work with African governments. That's a little bit more than I want to bite off. But I do want to make better land surveying tools. So in Kenya, for example, there's only 117 registered surveyors with the ISK, the Institute of Surveyors of Kenya. And now they're allowing sub-surveyors, those people that can survey under them. And I'm making tools that make them survey faster. And when they survey faster, guess what? They make more money. They like that. And when they survey faster, widows get land. People that are minorities get more land. And hey, we can take a little bit of cut of that. And I don't think anybody thinks that's wrong. Quite frankly, we can make a living, we can make a good way. But people are saying, why now, right? So why doesn't this already exist? Well, it does already exist. USAID did make a version of this. They're very proud of it. I think it's crap. I've talked to them. They're not UX designers. It's not very intuitive to use, and we're making a better version. And then another reason, but the reason we're doing this now is the prices of GPS and the L3 band. The prices of GPS are going down. The L3 band for satellites is coming up. So the GPSs that you can attach to your phone are really becoming available right now. So this technology and this stuff makes sense. It just attaches to the phone, walk around the boundaries, click, walk around the boundaries, click, walk around the boundaries, click, enter in some information, and hey, you got a survey. There's a few more parts, offline usage, this and that, but it's a pretty simple interface. And that's Boundra, and that's what we're making. And I'm really excited, and I just wanted to tell you about it. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Kirk. I'm the founder of Rehoused. It's a online marketplace that real estate agents can go to sell their clients' homes instantly. The normal process for selling a home is that you have to do a marketing campaign, which could mean that you have to show the home, you have to have open houses, you may have to do repairs, you have financing contingencies on your contracts. What my platform allows you to do, or a real estate agent to do, is to connect with what is called instant buyers in the marketplace now. And these buyers have all the data points they need online to be able to purchase your home sight unseen. My background for 7 years has been working with institutional investors doing this exact process. We bought over 40,000 homes sight unseen within 24 hours of that home going live on the market. It placed over $5 billion in capital. So in my previous life, I built out an auction platform where we buy it from the counties that are selling it. We would buy off the MLS if anyone here is familiar with selling a home. We'd also partner with brokerages, real estate agents, et cetera. They'd send us properties. We'd buy them instantly. And instead of doing this for just one institutional investor, I'm building a marketplace to provide that access to any institutional investor, including, or not just including institutional investors, but even local real estate investors. A lot of them have the same capabilities nowadays with technology to be able to invest instantly, sight unseen. My ask is go ahead, give feedback, ask questions if you didn't understand what was going on. But also I'm looking for ideally a co-founder. Like someone mentioned earlier, it's like a marriage, so that could be difficult to find. Someone wants to make that type of commitment. So if it's a CTO or just an engineer that wants to work on a project, of course, get paid to scale for the work and effort that you're doing. That's it. Mine's real estate. People aren't too interested in it, so. That's true. Yeah. Are you a UX designer or engineer? Both. Great. We could chat about it. Anyone else? Feedback too on the pitch, understanding it? So on the MLS, right, let's say you're a home seller and you want to sell your home. Like the first thing you'd do, let's say day one, is you go look for real estate agents. Then you get a real estate agent, then maybe 2 weeks later, you sign an agreement to say, I'll list my home on the MLS. They'll go through, tell you have to clean your home, you have to make it show ready, do some repairs so someone can get a FHA loan or some type of loan on the asset, the property. So let's say now you're 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, it gets listed on the MLS. Then people have to come tour your home, view it, you have to have showings, open houses, maybe you get under contract, and then there's a whole another process. But let's say you're already 60 days in to actually get under contract. What's different from this platform, which is, I guess you could say similar to an MLS, is that you would just type in an address, and we currently have this running. I've been running the company for 7 months now. You type in an address, and then your address just raises a hand that says, I'm willing to sell my home. And then the data points are all there through data companies that provide this service, like CoreLogic, et cetera, Black Knight. And all my investors get that address flagged. They use their data sources, and then they ping me back with an offer to buy your home instantly, cash, not contingent, within 24 hours. So it's similar to the MLS, yes, but you don't have to do all the marketing work that normally goes into it. And so how I like to think about it is like, if you wanted to sell a car maybe like 30 years ago, you would have to go independently try to sell it, and it's a total headache. Nowadays, you go to Carvana, you take 3 pictures of your car, and it's sold within like 2 minutes. Same type of process or similar. Yes. It's a really good question. So the reason why is that there's a lot of prop tech companies that think they can cut out the real estate agent and just go directly to sellers. So you could look at like Open Door. Many of these companies that are trying to go there. They spend millions of dollars on marketing. They have their own inside sales agents that convince people to actually get across that line to selling. It's a big decision for the consumer. So they often need an advisor or someone to guide them. Now, we've been able to do transactions without it, of course, without an agent there. But if you look at like the data, 90% of all homes that transact are done with a real estate agent. And so you really actually, if you want to capture the market and get your opportunity to convert, you're going to want to be working with real estate agents and solve a problem for them. But it is a really good question. I originally started with cutting out the agent as well. Yep. Any other? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Orchard has some good products as well. But, okay. Well, oh, sorry. Correct. So like Open Door. Yeah. Open Door has a study on this, a really good one, and so do other companies, but just for everyone to know, is the consumer is willing to take up to a 15% discount on the price of them selling their home to be able to sell it conveniently on their timeline. So example is like, you don't know when your home's gonna sell, for what price, what work you're gonna have to do, out-of-pocket cost, et cetera. If you get a job relocation where you're saying a life event, right? Or you inherit a property, or for any reason, even if you're upgrading and you want to keep your kids in the same school district, get them settled before school, that doesn't matter. Like, you want to be able to choose your timeline of when you move out of your house, when you move into your next one, how you plan your financing and your taxes. So there's a huge value to that people don't understand. You think when you're selling an asset for like 400 grand that you're going to want to get top dollar. But we found with my previous institutional companies I worked at was that we would offer people, you know, offers that were 12% of what they were asking. People would bid over us 12% more. They would still go with us because it was convenience and they got to choose their timeline. Sorry for taking so much time.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I was excited and adrenaline and I just went off the stage. Questions? The app is mostly built. There's some things to finish up. Was that the question? The hardware is built by a local Austin company. They're out of Diogenes, but it's external hardware. It's not on the App Store. It's only for, it's not quite finished. It's like 80% there. But it's honestly, I mean, I can show you, but it's, I can't because it's not, my computer's not here actually. But it's stupid simple UX. Like it's literally like a form and walking around, and it's on purpose. Like it's like other people have overcomplicated this, and we stripped everything down, and we looked at the law and we looked at everything involved, and there's some engineering there. There's definitely like offline, like making things work offline and syncing with the database and like dealing with database conflicts is a little bit of a pain, but like it's not rocket science. This is not the most complicated app in the world. I think the conflicts and dealing with user alerts when things conflict and like alerting the user when things conflict and dealing with all the edge cases was definitely the most that goes into this. Yeah. I lived there for 3 years. Nina ongelea Kiswahili kidogo tu. I speak some Swahili. Nina niko salama. Sawa. Ninitwa Kate. Unitwa? Sawa. Yeah, I speak some Swahili. I'm not fluent, but my co-founder is Kenya. Kenya is English speaking though. It was a former English colony, so you don't need to know Swahili to start there, but they kind of call it the gateway to Africa. It's a very easy country to start in for a lot of different reasons. The financial sector is really good there. It's a very stable country. You know, we have 2 county governments that are interested in working with us if we do want to work with them. We've kind of said that we want to work with surveyors first, but we have Kisumu County and Kakamega County in Kenya that have said that they want to work with us if we do want to work with them. So, you know, it's a great region. And we have there's in Nairobi, there's, you know, the place where all the surveyors get all their equipment has already said that they'll sell our equipment and they'll sell both the hardware and the software. I mean, of course they're going to bump up the price and take a cut, but that's what business is. So, yeah. So, yeah. Any other questions? But yeah, it's a little niche. But we want to expand to other countries after Kenya. So if you have any connections to other countries, that would be my ask, is like, you know, especially countries that have like a significant amount, we're interested in a significant amount of undocumented land. So Kenya is 87% undocumented. So we're mostly interested in new land, not conversion land, the way it's currently set up. We do want to add conversion land to it, but right now it's mostly made for, yeah, documenting the first round of it. So, thank you.
I think there was one more. Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so how many of you have planned a pitch and then you go through a massive pivot in your value proposition and now it's completely blown up? Like, any hands? Yeah, some right there. So
I had a planned pitch for this, but I'm just going to frame this as a story and kind of see how this goes. I've been involved in research for the past 3 years, focused on essentially applying frameworks to machine learning models to optimize them, fine-tune hyperparameters, that type of stuff. I'm not sure if any of you are involved in research or familiar with it, but how often does someone reach out to you saying, "Hey, I read your paper"? Like, is that something that happens frequently? I don't personally think so. Well, the industry in which I had applied a lot of my research in is quantitative finance, quantitative trading. And I had registered for an event up in New York, and randomly out of nowhere, I got this weird email. Someone's like, "Hey, I read your paper. Do you think we could talk? Do you think this is something you could apply to one of my models?" So we ended up speaking with each other, and he was a quant trader who developed this incredibly advanced framework that generates over 7 figures a month for his clients. And he's like, "I'm running into this very specific issue with actually tuning my hyperparameters." Now, where I'm about to pivot has nothing to do with quant finance or trading whatsoever. I run a shipping and logistics company called ShipSense, and essentially, where after this long conversation he had explained to me his background in shipping, logistics, working for carriers and freight forwarders, and a massive issue in that industry is actually one, which is from our new pivot we found, pricing. There's existing pricing for box truck, for intermodal, over the road, those types of trucks. But there's new emerging markets, kind of like Uber for box trucks, right? So say you think of a U-Haul or something like that, and I need to get this stuff moved, but I'm not trying to do, from Port of LA to New York or something like that across the country. Gig economy Uber equivalent is essentially, let's hire someone in a box truck, they pack this up, and they move it for us. Well, there's not a lot of pricing data on this market at all. So it's still a very blue-collar industry. Pricing's whatever you hear on the phone. And these freight forwarders, carriers are having a lot of trouble with actually, giving a client a price for 2-3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now. There's not a lot of data to go off of for actually pricing this. So working with a client currently based out of Cincinnati who runs into this very specific issue, we're building out a pricing dashboard for them. And basically our major competitors, which would be FreightWaves and DAT, are completely horrifically bad at this. And that's kind of the pain points we had heard. Originally, our business model plan was to actually work with carriers directly. So now the current partner we're working with is a freight forwarder. But, and this is still an issue that we see with carriers essentially not being able to accurately plan routes for their drivers, for their truckers. So a little bit about the business model of a carrier. They take a flat cut, right? Somewhere around like 20% or something of that, of a drayage fee. And that's essentially the fee for a trucker to say, "Hey, I'm gonna pick up this, whatever truck or whatever container from this port and bring it over to this port." And that's that flat fee. And a lot of times there's all this complexity piled on top of it, right? You have to plan your route, you have to pay detention fees from the actual ship lines themselves. So if you're a trucker, which in the industry they're referred to as owner-operators, they want to offload a lot of that risk onto a company. That's where carriers come in. Well, what carriers do is essentially they'll manage a certain amount of truckers. So I've kind of split the industry into 3 sections. You got, your small size sub 10 trucks, right? It's one person managing 10 trucks. You have your mid-size, which is somewhere probably between like 50 and let's say like 250, 300 trucks, and then over 300, that's your larger size in the industry. Small size, individually, they can handle this route planning. It's not much of an issue for them. But once you reach that mid-size, they tend to brute force the issue. And by brute forcing it, every 10 to 12 trucks, they hire a new person to actually manage that individual section of the fleet. And they say, "Okay, your job is to make sure that we aren't paying these awful fees to these shipping companies." Now, I'm going to take a word that you said earlier, mafia. That's essentially how they operate. So they charge 2 fees, detention and demurrage. And these fees essentially, detention is if you return your actual container late, which is pretty reasonable. You're given a certain amount of free days, and if you don't return it, it's like $300-400 a day. Every day it adds up, that's late. But they have another fee. And if you don't return your container to the port by X amount of days before the ship line needs it, let's say there's congestion at this port. In this port, we just had the dock workers strike, right? And it's going to take 2 days to actually get your container from the dock back onto the ship. that's not the trucker, that's not the carrier, but these shipping companies will actually charge you until they get it. So let's say it's a congested port day, they'll charge you an extra $400 or $500 to get, because the port just took longer than normal to actually get that container back on the ship. It's kind of like a mafia, and what they say is, if you don't like that, if you don't partner with us, we'll just completely cut you out of our network entirely. And there's not very many major ship lines that you can work with. So you're kind of forced to pay these fees. So where we come in is we actually have a model called Propagator. And this is the model I had mentioned earlier, trading for family offices, generating around 7 figures. It's incredibly good at demand forecasting. So we've been able to use this on shipping data, port data to actually predict congestion at these different ports all across the country. And these carriers that are in the midsize, on average here, lose about 8% of revenue annually to paying these fees. And we've assumed and deduced that it's probably about 60 to 70% of these fees they're paying are due to poor route planning and scheduling because they don't have accurate data on what these actual congestion times and other stuff at these ports are. So essentially with Propagator, our model, we've been able to predict congestion times and actually reroute these trucks ahead of time. Usually it's about a week that truckers like to plan their routes and get that all scheduled out at. So essentially we can say, hey, there's your average seasonality and all that with ports like wintertime and when congestion increases. But, as you start getting more fine-grained different times of the day, more specific parts of the data, it becomes really difficult to actually predict when there's going to be congestion. And that's not something a human should be doing. And that's what they're doing. They're scaling these teams, throwing hundreds of people out there to solve this problem, and losing millions and millions of dollars every year to these fees. So our ShipSense, our proposition was, let us use our models to price, 1, these very niche, odd new markets, and 2, to automate your scheduling, predict demand, and congestion at these ports. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're doing at ShipSense. Any questions? What am I looking for? Well, my ask right now is I just want to be more comfortable pitching, so get out there. But I guess, yeah. Our next ask is we're kind of waiting just to get in front of more people in the industry. So we're working currently with a freight forwarder, and we have events planned out with them to meet more people, but we're just kind of trying to get our name out there. And probably at some point, and maybe in the next year after we're post-revenue, then go into the process of trying to bring on venture capital and something like that. We want to make it more transparent with actual pricing. We don't want to go for pre-revenue seed round. So we're currently working with a customer, and this was last week. That's why I said we just had that massive pivot. And they essentially told us hey, this is great and we see this issue, but, and it's always that story. This is the actual issue we're having, and if you can solve this for us, that would, we'll buy this product immediately. And it just so happened that the issue is pricing box trucks, which the reason that DAT and FreightWave suck at it is because it's very sparse, noisy data. It's not very, sorry? Oh, yeah, no, it's very sparse, noisy data. And our model Propagator, the reason it's successful in trading, it gets over 91% green on 91% of the options it trades in, is because it's very good at extrapolating patterns from very noisy, sparse data. And I know I can see the gears turning in your head right now. I know the question you're about to ask is, why don't you start a hedge fund? And that was my initial question when I spoke to my co-founder. I'm like, this model's trading so well. Why don't we just start a hedge fund with this? And this goes back to some advice from someone that we got when we were at that event up in New York. And this was from someone who started the company Data Bento. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with that, but we spoke to her, and she essentially told us that she actually went to MIT and then founded a hedge fund right out of MIT. And the whole issue with that is, if you have this really good trading model, right, you can, in the markets that we're trading in are very niche, very small. We're getting to the point that if we exceed, the trading volume we're doing, we're going to reach saturation and we're going to move the market. But trying to start a hedge fund with these models, you're essentially going to start competing against the Citadels, Jane Streets of the world once you get into those larger mid-sized markets. And they're paying their quants $500,000 a year to spend all day to reverse engineer these models. It's not worth their time at the moment to try to trade in these small markets because, again, like you have 5 quants who you pay $500,000 a year and tell them, hey, go figure out this, like weather trading market or something like that. It's just not worth their time. But once you get into like stocks, bonds, like these much larger markets, all of a sudden it blows up. And that's kind of been the story of a lot of these hedge funds that start from one model. You do well for 1-2 years, and then all of a sudden the model blows up. You don't know why it's working anymore. And the money that you get isn't yours and you have to return it. And we were looking for something that's a bit more sustainable long term, and we actually want to apply this to a real industry like trucking, shipping, and logistics. Really? Mm-hmm. Yep. And then yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a lot of other like refrigerated transport, a lot of those very specific ones too, where now there's like a time constraint, time factor involved in the actual model itself. I actually had just been sent a document yesterday, and it's Singapore's National Artificial Intelligence Strategy. And I read it, and it literally reads like a playbook for our startup. Essentially, they're planning to actually integrate this entire system into their country because they're a massive port country, port hub, and actually use these types of models to predict congestion, that type of stuff for shipping and logistics. So yeah, no, it's being integrated everywhere. It's kind of the timeline, and the timeline for them is between 2022 and 2030, which lines up perfectly with the timeline, for what we're doing. So it seems like the world's kind of moving into this era. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You wanted to do that? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then after that, is there anyone? Okay, you.
Yeah, you guys are smart. Well, good evening. My name is Kai. I'm the BD of Business Development at Ancient. We specialize in nearshore development and staffing. But I guess, do we have any Longhorns fans in the house? A few, yeah? A few Longhorns fans? Well, too bad if you're an A&M fan, right? Anyways, I'm building this app called Stay With Fans. And so as you know, UT beat A&M last weekend. Yay, go UT. And we're going to Georgia to play Georgia. Actually, no, Atlanta to play Georgia. And so one of the biggest things at Running Trouble is how do you know where the fans are staying at, right? You usually go on Facebook groups or go on Texas groups or go on the forums and say, hey guys, where are we all staying at? Because most of the time, fans want to stay with other fans. Doesn't matter if you're a Steelers fan or Longhorns fan or A&M fan or Georgia fans. Most likely, you want to stay with other fans so you can connect, meet, eat, drink, and cheer together versus getting fights, which I've seen a couple throughout my years. And so what this app does is it connects fans with where we're staying at. And so long story short, if you're a Longhorns fan, you log into my app and you say, hey, I'm a Longhorns fan, and I am booking this hotel from this date to this date. And then it alerts all the other Longhorns fans that, hey guys, there's one fan already checked into this hotel. If you want to book there, book through my app. And furthermore, it gives me the opportunity to get that data back to the Longhorns and say, hey guys, we have about 400 fans staying in this hotel. Why don't you guys host an event where the most Longhorns are staying at? And so I built this app called Stay With Fans. So we can cheer together, stay together. And what I'm asking is I need a mentor in terms of an online hotel booking site. So if anyone knows somebody that's specialized in that, I would love to get connected afterwards. And also, if you need nearshore development, let me know too. But yeah, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Once again, my name is Kai. Thank you so much. Questions? Comments? You hate it? You love it? All right. Thanks, guys.
I think we'll go with we'll go with you, and then we'll come to you. Yeah, yes, sir.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris. I'm with PeerView AI, and this is going to sound a little bit similar to Blueprint AI that we heard about earlier. Every big business does market research, they do competitive intelligence, they spend time obsessing about what their competitors are doing. And it's not just because Jeff Bezos is really, really envious of what is going on or really curious about everyone that's going on around him. It's just how you run a business. If your business goes up, you want to know, did your business do well because of something you did? Or did it do well because of something that the entire industry benefited from, and you're just riding the tide going up? If you're a buggy whip manufacturer 100 years ago and your business is doing badly, is it because your buggy whips are just, not as good as everyone else's buggy whips? Or is it because automobiles have come onto the scene and completely wiped out your market? Now, take this down to the level of a small business. If you're a small business in town and you have Starbucks in town, Starbucks is doing all of this competitive analysis. They're spending money, time, and resources. They're hiring management consultants. They're doing all of this work. And you, as a local coffee shop, don't have any of this. You don't have the time, you don't have the money, and let's not even talk about how bad the data environment is. There's no way you, as a small town coffee shop owner, are going to spend any amount of time and effort to try to go and compete against Starbucks on competitive intelligence. It would be absurd. So what I've spent the last several years of my career doing, and now taking it to the startup world, is matching consumer credit card data from everyone in this room, anonymizing it, aggregating it, and matching it to the business location level. And so for the a few minutes of work of signing up and the price of about a lunch a month, you can get a customized report for your very specific small business that says how well are you doing compared to all of the businesses in your same industry around you. In fact, I can also say, if you're in a shopping plaza, how well is your business doing to all of the businesses in that same shopping plaza? If they're all going up and you're going up, that's great news. If you're going up and everyone in that shopping plaza is going downhill, then you probably want to go and find a different location. So this is a way of going and empowering small businesses to have the same sort of capabilities that the big businesses do. And I would argue, in fact, it's actually better than what a lot of these big businesses can do, because it's using actual revenue data to let these small businesses go and have competitive market insights that prior to now, I think, was completely unavailable in the market. So my ask for you guys is, this is about 2 months old as a startup, although I've been working on it off and on for 5 years, is I simply need small businesses who are interested in this to be helping me try out what exactly is the best format for this report. Is it a monthly report? Is it a quarterly report? Is it, 20 pages of charts and graphs that they're going to go and just glaze their eyes at? Is it one slide with AI-generated summaries? I simply need trial customers who run brick-and-mortar small businesses to sit down with me and tell me everything they hate about the project, and hopefully a few things that they like about it that I can then iterate on. So thanks very much. Happy to take questions. Zen Business, yes. And in case I forget. Any other questions? Yep. Yes, so you have a consumer credit card. That consumer credit card sells that data to a company called Argus. Argus aggregates and does all sorts of various things with that data to help the banks. They then strip off everything about you as a person from that data, and they sell it to a different data company called Enigma, who I've spent the last several years working with closely. Enigma takes all of that data, and you know how it used to have all that gobbledygook associated with it and a zip code? They have a team of data scientists that match it to an actual business location. And then I buy the data from Enigma because I'm good friends with the CEO. It's only credit card transactions. So if a business doesn't use credit card transactions, if it's like a landscaping company that's cash only, if it's an e-commerce business that doesn't have a physical location, those are really difficult to track down and match the credit card transactions to, I'm blind to. But if it's retail, if it's food, if it's a hair salon, any business that has a stable portion of its revenue coming from credit card data, it becomes basically Zillow for businesses. You know, you can kind of track the information there. Yep. Yeah, I was actually chatting with one of the Austin representatives about it earlier, about something I could be doing. Oh, cool. I will go and see if I can check out the bus stop one day. It's great. And if anyone else is curious about credit card transaction data and what they could be playing around with, I'm happy to go and chat with you afterwards as well. Yeah, so it's a combination of both. So I'll give you two separate examples. One is there's a coffee shop, a food truck downtown in Austin that introduced Instagram campaign back in February. Now, if you look at their sales revenue, it's just a giant U shape because of seasonality. You can't tell the Instagram campaign did anything because there's such strong seasonality associated with that location. But you go and compare it to the other 10 coffee shops around, and now you can see they have a 20% lift due to that Instagram campaign, and you can attach an ROI to it, which is really powerful. Similarly, there's another eyeglasses shop out in Maryland that has two locations. One location looks like it does a lot better than the other location, but one of them's in a beach town, and one of them's not in a beach town. And you go and correct for the local environment, and they're both performing about the same. They're just following the local trends of the city in which that town, in which that eyeglass shop is based.
Is there an API or something that I could, like, say I do traffic analysis with like PlaceIQ or something like that? Is there a way for me to merge your data with another data set?
If you're doing that, you should go straight to my data vendor, Enigma, and talk to them. I'm using it for this specific purpose that I've talked to small business owners several years ago about developing. But if you're actually doing something large scale, I'm happy to connect you with them. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what most of the other places are doing, is they're using your cell phone data to go and get foot traffic data and figure out what's going on with foot traffic. But would you rather have foot traffic or would you rather have revenue? Revenue is also a lot easier to use than foot traffic data, and cheaper as a result. But honestly, I'd use both. I'm sorry? Yeah, so if you're using it for underwriting purposes, which is why I was originally having Enigma develop it for me back in the day, it's not terribly great. You're better off just asking them to go and give you your Plaid connection to their bank account and using bank account data. So it's mostly accurate in the sense of directionally it's very useful, but it's not going to give you a specific dollar amount that's very useful because it doesn't get 100% of the credit card revenue. And 100% of the credit card revenue is also not even useful if the business is 80% credit card and 20% cash. Like it's very directionally powerful if you know how to go and use it, but there's a lot of flaws in the data if you try to just naively use it as a revenue directly. Yeah, so I benchmark it, I index it, I identify problems in the issues, I give the summary. So I clean up all the data so it takes 5 minutes for a business owner to review and get the insights out of, as opposed to, you know, hopefully dumping a giant paperwork on them and they're like, I don't know what I got here. Hi.
And what was the name of the company you said? PeerView. Okay, PeerView AI. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's my first event here, so thank you so much for having me. My name is Eve. I'm from Russia, if you're curious about the accent. I recently exited an 11-year-old career of being VP for small businesses, where I mostly did sales B2B and B2C, and now I'm looking to transition into doing tech sales. So come say hi, and also, you know, I'm looking for friends, so come say hi. Would love to chat.
I think there was one more. Oh, yeah.
Hi y'all. I'm Johnny here from Austin. I just want to keep this brief and keep it strictly around like the dev engineering kind of stuff. I've got an open source project available. I guess first, like I build AI services and have worked with language models like since 2017, like very specifically in data curation and building specific things with those language models, and want to continue building a lot of cool AI services. And the thing that I figured out I needed in order to build like private AI, like personal AI services, was I needed to be able to run all these things locally on someone's machine, which is one challenge of it, but also needed a database that people can hook up their AI services to and have that on somebody's machine. So started building it, called this project Topo CLI. Let's see. This is an open source project that you can go to, install, set up. Really, it's not for a consumer right now. You can if you need. There's no, well, there's not really a consumer app available. Also, I lie a little bit about that. I'll just show you what this all does. Here's like a web interface. You end up getting, download this Topo CLI. You can install it using this download file. It's going to install Kafka on your machine, set up a Postgres database, set up Olama, which someone mentioned earlier. Set up, the Kafka's there to run a personal like private chat server on your machine, and then run all private AI models too on your machine, and then store all that information privately on your machine. This thing's there to like set up your whole computer as a database. You can deploy it on your like Mac, Linux, on your own device, whatever you own, or push it to a server and use it there. And then just start building AI services to it. There's like a couple things here. Oh, the other element too is that there's like a tunneling service being used. A bunch of open source projects here that, I mean, they all install in one click. But a tunneling service, so I can connect my phone to my computer, message, like invite all you to a chat room, and all those messages are just being routed directly through my computer. That's all really cool too, because when you have your private chat messages, we have equal data ownership. Like I own the data, you own the data. No one else has it unless you're like a part of that actual chat server. Or have your own Topos instance and talking with someone. But what's important then is like what can be built on top of all the private messages, where you don't want other services coming in to read your personal chat messages with somebody else. But now, if it's all located locally, now you can start and have your own private data. You can start building out some like neat, cool services for people. This is an open source project. There's 2 steps going on right now. Is we're putting Keycloak into this so that we've got an auth service available, and then building out there's a working tunneling service within this right now, but we've got to link it into the installability portion, which if anyone's familiar with NixOS, we're using NixOS to do a lot of that part of it, and then hopefully on the project roadmap is getting that the authentication done with Keycloak, and then getting the tunneling bit done within the next month and a half, and then we'll get moving forward. There is my company's called Dialogues.ai, and then if you go to Dialogues.ai, the chat.dialogues.ai actually opens up the whole chat service, and if you do end up wanting to download Topo CLI and then use you can output it'll output a URL, and you can end up putting that URL right into here. The auth service will end up enabling you to use this, use your Topos CLI, connect to your database from anywhere as long as you got it like on and running. But this is kind of the service. That's what I wanted to show with you guys today. What? Tunneling? No, it's, yeah, tunneling. You know, I'm not clear on probably the exact specifics, but what ends up happening is I can expose my computer to like my computer's IP to a public IP address, and then, you know, add some auth to that so you can prevent anybody from just connecting to it. And then once that's exposed, now you can expose any kind of application or just that whatever's that located at that IP address to the public web and connect to it. And so the use case of that is then now I want a messaging service on my phone, and what am I gonna connect to? It's like, well, I'm just gonna connect to that IP address on my computer and invite other people to connect to it, and we can share messages with one another. Well, it's it's a way to make it dangerous, and then you have to make it safe because you don't really want to expose your IP address. Yeah. 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 One of the things that's available here within the chat.dialogues piece is like a whole co-pilot on your service. If I had it set up, is basically this is where a place for you to have a meta conversation about your conversation. So you can be like, well, what is going on? What is I'm not missing? My favorite one in like this sort of catch-up summary kind of thing is this like unsaid information, or like what's the elephant in the room that's happening right now in our conversation that's not currently there. And so this app's actually a really good place. You had like the multi-language model access, and this too will do it from like a drop-down menu. It's like designed the same way off Perplexity, and being able to select whatever model you want to use. So that you can in here load in your API keys for Grok and for OpenAI. Oh, I actually don't. Oh, this has to get updated. But they're in there. This actually too, this Chat Arena piece is an open source piece of code too that you could find on the on my GitHub.
So I could put API key in there and use the unsaid information.
Yeah. You can use Grok, Olama, OpenAI. Use that unsaid information thing. Once you start, the whole point of this was building private, and so that's the default there. But then, I mean, obviously, if you use OpenAI, you're starting to use their trusted service. Yeah.
How big is it? How much space do you need to put a language model on your laptop?
Like I would do like 16 gig minimum is pretty good, and then you'd run like a 4 gig to 7 gig model, like a 7 billion or 14 billion parameter model would be good enough for most cases. Well, I don't know, if you were the one that was talking about coding things, I wouldn't use it for that. Yeah.
There's, two more, you and, or there was one more, I think.
If you've ever written a book or thought about writing one, there are many platforms for you to choose from. Writing has been one of the main forms of expression and communication for thousands of years. It's normal for you to engage with a writing app, but what about one that engages with you? My name is Jason Rayner. I'm the CEO and founder of Summary. the patent-approved program, which is the only writing platform that will allow you to create your print, ebook, and audiobook. When writers set a daily word count goal or book publication date, Summary is there to keep them on track with daily reminders and motivational tips. With integrated technology that learns the writing style of the user, writers will feel as though they have an editor or writing coach in the room with them at all times. But why this kind of platform now? From 2019 to 2024, there was a 264% increase in self-published authors. Even large traditional publishers like Simon & Schuster have a self-publishing division. There's no better time than now. So come with us as we venture on this unique journey to change the overall experience of writing and recording literature. Thank you. Great question. So we filed the patent 3 years ago, had a prototype that was really advanced for like 1985. So I wasted a lot of money on that, right? And so it took me a bit to find a CTO that I trusted and wanted to come in for equity purposes. And so we're currently developing it, and it should be live for beta testers to use later this month. Just a quick backstory, my wife and I own a book publishing company, 105 Publishing. You can Google it. 105 is a street I grew up on in Brooklyn. And the beta testers aren't hard to find. But what I realized in my 2x2 apartment over by the worst HEB in Austin, Slaughter, and I-35, when I had to create my books, I had to use a separate platform for audio. And so you can use Microsoft Word or Google Docs to create your print and ebook, but then for audiobook, you have to use something like Audacity or something separate. So I got the patent attorney. He used to work for Amazon. He said, your idea is too simple. I'm sure it's been created. He looked it up. He said, it hasn't been created. Let's do this. So it took 3 years, got the patent, and so proud to say that we have it. We're very optimistic for the future. Great. So pretty much the simplicity of the print, ebook, and audiobook. So just using Microsoft Word as an example, you type your book. It has a sort of editor tool, but with ours, we would like to have it where you can say, what do you think about chapter 1? Do you have any suggestions on how I can implement this character in the story? And then in that same writer's bar, which is what we're calling it, once you feel as though your book is ready to go, you then utilize the record button, and in the same platform, it will store your manuscript and your audio. And so that is what the patent covers, is just, that's why the attorney was like, that's very simple. I'm not sure, you know. Currently, yes.
What are you looking for?
I don't think just money is good enough. I'd like someone who, even if you haven't written a book, you're passionate about books like I am. And you want to be a partner with me on this, with us on this. So not just an investor, but then also a partner as well. I know that we're very early, and that, like, of course, we have the beta testers, thank the Lord, right? Those weren't hard to find, but I know we have to prove ourselves to make sure that this is of interest to people. But if we can get someone early who, has the funding and wants to be a part of it, that would be fantastic. Absolutely, yeah. Microsoft can, Google can. I mean, it's just they already have the Grammarly, right? Like this, absolutely, yeah. Great question. It's not like this is bulletproof, right? And a lot of the, like with the writer AI button that we have, for example, and we spoke earlier, we were initially going to integrate OpenAI for our platform. But our CTO, Ty, he was looking at some other language learning platforms and saying that we can probably use something different. But I mean, that's just the uniqueness of it, is the creating your print, ebook, and audiobook in that same platform. What's stopping them from doing it? I mean, right now what you would do is you would type your manuscript in Microsoft Word, you would take it and then put it over to ChatGPT and ask it the same question. I'm just having it in one platform where you just do it all in one.
Is there audio cleanup tools? Because I'm starting to do a podcast and realize how horrible it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Starting out with your voice.
Yeah.
Is there audio editing tools as well?
We're looking into that. Our CTO did find some stuff that he's thinking about integrating. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm the talker. He's the brains, right? So I'm envisioning. I see how it's going to work and everything. It's just a matter of getting connected with the right people to actually bring it to life. Yes. Yeah. Okay. For the AI function, you're saying, or okay. Yeah. 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 And some of the feedback we got is like, can it do like Morgan Freeman reading your book for you, right? You know, I'd like to look into that, just kind of see what you're talking about. But I think this is just kind of the starting point, and then eventually we do want to, you know, implement some of these things that you were asking about. So. Mm-hmm. I see. Right. Good. All right. Thank you.
And I think you're the next one. Yeah. Or is there anyone else?
How's it going, everybody? My name's Steven. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I came here from yoga, and I have toothpaste on my sweatshirt. I did not come dressed for the occasion, but I appreciate you listening nonetheless. I am creating a talent agency plus record label business model in the wellness space. So the wellness space is a $1.8 trillion market. There's not really an entertainment part of that. There are speakers, there are influencers, there's not really entertainment itself, right? And so currently focusing on the comedy space. I'm a comedian. I've run multiple companies that put together like corporate comedy shows. So we've worked with like 500 different companies, specifically with comics, and working with HBO and Netflix and Hulu and all that sort of stuff. And then working with companies that would fund, we'd use comedy shows as a conduit for corporate giving, right? So Salesforce would be raising money for American Cancer Society. We'd work with a lot of local organizations and stuff like that. So my background is social enterprises. I've run 10 years of social enterprises, created my own masters in the space while I've been a comedian for about 11 years. So what we are doing is specifically pushing out comedy projects that are focused around wellness, more to speak, right? So currently the two problems that we're solving in the wellness space, there's not really a comedy tint to it. Everything takes itself very seriously. In the comedy space, a lot of the stuff that's getting popularized is kind of like, we'll call it low vibration, right? It's just a lot of like punching down, making fun of certain groups, where there is a lot of comedy in the space that is focusing on developing your own mental health and wellness. And there's a lot of really dope projects that are going on. So what that looks like currently is three main revenue streams. One is ticket sales, one is brand partnerships, one is corporate wellness and conferences. So we are starting with the project that I am currently working on, right? It's a comedy show where we talk about childhood trauma, growing up in the opioid crisis, and then using a bunch of different wellness tools to get better. Gratitude, meditation, yoga, and breath work, right? So I do the show with a yoga therapist who leads everybody in breathwork to begin, yoga in the middle, meditation at the end. The shit is hilarious. The show's been going really well. So we've sold out every single show. We have slews and slews of testimonials, people saying that it was the best show that they've ever been to, the most Austin-y shit that I've ever been to. Healing but ridiculous and wholesome, unique and hilarious, all sorts of different quotes that the shows are going very well, right? And so now we're talking to United Health about touring all their campuses and talking to Google and talking to Meta about touring their campuses with it as a corporate show. So taking this one project that we'll be making for Netflix at the end of next year, and then taking all of those processes, and as we build the whole record label and talent agency business around it, right? So we have marketing agencies that are working on selling tickets to the shows, which then we work with different sponsorship agencies to then sell brand partnerships to those shows, taking all of that and then using that as basically the middle of funnel to have all the SVPs of HR and all the high up HR executives come to the shows, treat it as a product demonstration, and then have that be the third revenue stream. There's all sorts of other revenue streams to tack onto it, but that's kind of the skeleton of what we're starting. Taking that, replicating it for other projects that I have my eye on for different comics that I work with in New York and LA. And yeah, gonna keep on scaling it like that. So that's what I'm working on. My ask, I'm in the process of looking for a partner, but it's a very, very specific niche, somebody that is involved either in the wellness, entertainment, sales, business development, B2B sales. There's a lot of different shit that that person has to be. And I don't know if I was supposed to say shit up here, but I just did it again. And so in the process of looking for that. But low-hanging fruit ask that we have, shows this Friday. So anybody that wants to come, hit me up after this. I'll get you a free link. December 6th. That's our last show that we're kind of like proving it out before really starting to tour it aggressively next year. So it'll be at, we partner with a lot of like the yoga studios and meditation centers, and that's kind of how we develop the different like community angles in the different cities around the country, but we're really blowing it up here in Austin. So Flow Yoga, Westgate, December 6th, 7:30. If we get 100 people, Paramount Theater said that we can headline Paramount Theater. So I need to get some butts and some seats. So my name is Stephen Campbell. Hit me up afterwards if you want to come to the show. Thank you. All right. The shows are called Stand Up Comedy, Sit Down Yoga. So Flow Yoga, Westgate is the next one on the 6th. We'll start doing a lot more of them. My company that I've been running for a while, where we're using comedy shows as a conduit for corporate giving, is called Ustreat, USTREAT.com. We started it in DC. The initial projects were specifically to get food to people in underserved communities. So that is why the spelling and why Ustreat. What's up? Oh, dog, you got to pay for that. Yeah, so this one project that I'm working on right now, so the first half of it is storytelling, where talking about essentially having a severe panic attack and what all of the things that built up to that and how I kind of had to build my way out of it, right? And then the second half is a lot of jokes about like gratitude, meditation, and a lot of it comes from the perspective of somebody that's still figuring it out, where I think a lot of the people that position themselves in that wellness space either are so on top of the mountain of Zen that it's intimidating and you're like, damn, I could never, or they're so full of shit that you're like, they're just like, just $9.99 and I'll teach you how to reach nirvana, right? And so this show is coming more from the perspective of somebody that's trying to figure it out to give people a little bit more accessibility to that conversation. Cool. Please hit me up after if you want to come to the show.
Thank you. All right, a lot of fascinating companies and ideas and projects that people are working on. But we do have one, oh, I don't know, it's glitching like that. Okay, yeah, that's good. We'll do one, let's see if there's a, oh, there it is. So we'll do one final round of anyone that wants to scan that and submit the thing for the raffle, or is everyone done? I'll give like maybe a couple of minutes for people to do that. And again, this is a raffle for a free personal subscription for a JetBrains product. If you've used IDEA, IntelliJ IDEA, or Data Grip, or PyCharm, or things like that, I mean, you probably find some use for that, or if your team needs that, maybe there's some use for that. And then, yeah, while people are scanning and submitting that information before we do the raffle, is there any final shout-outs for anything that people want to do? Yes, sir?
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris. I run 2 programs here at Capital Factory. I do the rising trend of one-person businesses. So I've been doing this since January. And the other one that I do is also the digital nomad lifestyle. So this is people who work from a laptop and travel the world. I help show you how to transition to that lifestyle as well. But the other reason why I wanted to talk to y'all tonight as well is because there is actually a huge business conference coming up that's statewide, and it's called the Bexar County Business Conference. And if you want to look that up right now, if you are trying to do work at a city level, at a state level, at a federal level, there's going to be hundreds of companies from all over Texas coming into San Antonio on December 11th. So again, search for that information, register now. It is all day. So it is from 7 a.m. all the way to about 4 p.m. And if you're looking to do deals right there, they are looking to do deals as well. So this is not a, we're going to come in, talk, wait 3 months. They're looking to do contracts right then and there in that room. So it is a big deal. It happens once every year, and it's always in December. So this time it's going to be December 11th. And again, register now if you want breakfast and lunch. Otherwise, I think in like 2 or 3 days, it's just a regular ticket. So, and it is free to attend, by the way. So again, it's called Bexar County Business Conference, and search 2024. And when you fill out the form, only fill out the required boxes, because it looks like there's like a ton of stuff to fill out. Just look for the ones with the asterisk mark, and that's all you have to fill out. And it is free to attend. It starts at 7 a.m., so for those who live here, you will need to get up early. Sorry. So yeah. And if you have any more questions about that, come talk to me. I go every year. So yeah.
For those that are new to Texas, Bexar County is B-E-X-A-R. So just FYI. Thank you. Yeah, there's one more shot. Oh, I don't have applause.
So I heard a few people looking for developers, and this isn't a solution for everybody. I do think a CTO is very important for certain stages, and having that sometimes be someone local. But I did live in Kenya for 3 years, and there are great developers from the Silicon Savannah, and they are the most talent for the best amount of money, the best ROI I can find. And if you want to talk about that discussion, I eat my own dog food. A lot of the Boundra app, a lot of it's built by me. A lot of it is built by, Daniel, who's a great developer as well. So a Kenyan developer, and yeah, there's great developers. And if you want that as an option, it's more affordable than you think it is.
Also, one other thing, my event for Rising Trend of One-Person Business is tomorrow night, 6 p.m., 8th floor, if you're interested. It's a recap of everything for this year.
Right. Thank you. Any other shout-outs? Oh, yes, sir.
Hey, I'm Chris, also. I'm an embedded engineer, so I design hardware. I founded a company 10 years ago making electronic music instruments, so synthesizers, and I love audio stuff. And I'm looking for freelance work or maybe just a new job. So if anybody is building something that makes noise or has a microcontroller in it or needs hardware, I'd love to talk.
Thank you. Let's connect, because I think I may know one founder that's doing something with electronics and synthesizers and things like that. So awesome. All right. So just a quick scan in the room. Anyone looking for jobs? Oh, yeah, you already told. Yeah. Do you want to just state once again, Bill?
Yeah, so as I said, I've been in hardware founder mode for the past 4 or 5 years. Maybe this next idea I will turn into another company, but it is probably about time for me to get a real job and stop spending my savings. So if anyone knows any hardware companies that need a product/business development person, I have a master's in biological and agricultural engineering, and I would love to get into something that's a little more deeper tech than consumer commercial appliances. I mean, maybe something that's a little bit more impactful.
Thank you. And there was one more, I think. Oh, yeah.
Hi, guys. So I am Nabiha. I am a UX designer and front-end developer. I'm also a Rice University alum, and I've worked at 4 startups so far. The first startup I worked for was acquired this year, so they had a successful exit, which was really nice. After that, I worked for a VC-backed startup out of Stanford, where I resigned to start my own company. So I'm here today because I recently wrapped up my own startup where my best friend and I hosted friendship matchmaking events in Houston exclusively for women. We had over 400 paying customers and made $11,000 as full-time college students in the span of just a few months. That was very exciting and very stressful time. That gave me the opportunity to pitch to investors. So I was a top 5 finalist at Rice University's annual pitch competition, top 5 out of about 130 teams, PhDs, master's students, and undergrads. I pitched to a room full of 250 people and a panel of VCs and founders that were previously on Shark Tank as well. That was a lot, but it was a really, really strong learning moment for me to learn how to communicate my ideas and communicate my vision for my company in a very concise and clear way. So I'm hungry to contribute to a product team right now with my UX design or front-end development skills. Having worked at successful startups and run my own, I very intimately understand the need to make money fast. And how do you do that? Well, you help your users reach their goals. You have to really, really, really understand your users, because when you help your users reach their goals, you as a business will reach your goals. So here's my ask. If you're trying to ship an MVP or get someone to look at your website or your app and give you feedback, or if you just want to chat, I'm your girl. I feel like I currently offer freelance services to local clients. I have several clients right now, and I'm also open to part-time or full-time positions. So if anything I said stuck out to you, this is what I look like. Please come talk to me after. And I'd absolutely love to have a chat and connect. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? I think there was one more hand raised here. Yes, sir.
There's no way I'm following that up, but my name is Shazil. I recently graduated, recently like in 2022, with a bachelor's in biology. I wanted to be a doctor. Look how that turned out, right? Throughout my undergrad, I realized that that's probably not what I want to do really, and then I started looking more into data, and then I really fell in love with working with data, specifically healthcare data, but not only that, like other things, mainly in tech. And so I studied hard. I was self-taught, and then I got a certificate in data science and business analytics. And so I've been trying to find a job in that. I guess I chose like probably the worst time in human history to try and get a job in this field, but I'm trying hard. If you guys would love to, or I would love it if you guys would be willing to connect, or if you guys know anyone that is in the field that is looking, that would like to connect, please let me know. I can share my LinkedIn with you. I think JM and I think Chris, right? You guys talked about your companies and how that's really big in dealing with data. If you guys are willing, maybe we can talk about it. Hopefully your companies don't take my job in the future, but we can see, right? Thank you guys. That's it.
Anyone else? I think there was maybe one hand raised somewhere here. All right. So, anyone hiring in this room right now? No one's hiring? Okay. Awesome. For open source, right? For open source or for your open source project? Okay. Anyone with NixOS or what was the other one? Keycloak. Yeah, for auth. Right. So, all right. So with that said, okay, let's run the raffle right now and see who's got the lucky thumb today. Oops, I didn't want to do that. All right, Alex Lopez. All right. A big hand to Alex Lopez. Thank you. So I think I have your. I think I have your email. So yeah, we'll get you.
Thank you. Yes, nice to meet you all. Nice to meet you all. And thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Alex. And okay, with that said, I know this is December. We're almost closing down the year. So anyone, I know there's one person who was launching their beta, right? So this month. So good luck to your launch. And when you launch, let us know. We'd be more than happy to, share it with the group. Anyone else doing any product launches closing this year? Constantly, always, yeah. Anyone with a milestone that you want to share? Any sales or marketing or user revenue milestones? No? Okay. Awesome. So with that said, I mean, I wish you all the best in this year, closing down this year with a high note. I know, like every year, we have positives, negatives, and then also things that we look forward to in the next year. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the, this month, and have a wonderful holiday season, and enjoy, the holidays with your family and friends, and have a great close to the year, and start your next year with much more. Many more things to look forward to, and many more accomplishments that you can come here and share with us too. All right. So with that said, I'll have a wonderful, Christmas and the rest of the year. Thank you. Hello, hello, hello. What? Excuse me, everyone. One last announcement. For anyone that parked in the garage, there's a parking validation ticket over there on that table. So please do grab a parking validation ticket if you parked in the garage. All right?
Thank you so much for coming, everyone. The space is now closed. You can make your way to the front, please. Thank you, and we'll see you in January. Yeah.